Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Race Report. I'm Jeff Baki Jr. alongside my broadcast colleague Scott Ickes. And what a week we had in Michigan, Scott.
Yeah, Jeff, it was pretty crazy. Controversy, controversy, controversy are the headlines leaving Michigan.
Yes, indeed it is, and we're going to get into that discussion later on in the show. But right now, we have Tuesday night's winner with us, Jesus Andrade. Welcome to the Race Report, Jesus.
Yeah, it feels awesome being here. You guys have a pretty cool looking studio.
Thank you very much. First off, my friend, congratulations. It's a pleasure having you on as one of my drivers, and it's a blast watching you race week in and week out. First question we have to ask you is this, and don't feel like it's a broken record because we have to ask everybody this. What does it feel like knowing that you don't have to worry about qualifying in next weekend in Atlanta? You're locked in via this win that you guys got. What's that got to be like for your team?
Oh, it's awesome. It's like I went through a door without being it locked. It's really cool to not have to race my way in. I just have my locked in spot because Atlanta is one of those high speed tracks, and everybody's gonna have a fast car there, and it's good to have a locked in car and not worry about it.
Yeah, Jesus. You guys got off to a slow start here. What's going on in the shop? Or maybe what's going on in the track as far as the team's performance?
The team's performance has been perfect. There's nothing going on in the shop. You know, these guys have been bringing me some awesome cars, and we've just had some bad luck at Daytona, man. If we didn't get caught up in that wreck, we would have been probably up there for the win, you know what I mean? Instead of last place, I think that's what I got. Then we got an auto club. We had no ill-handling car there, and then, team worked on it as hard as they could, but couldn't get it up there with speed-wise, and then we went to, I think, Dover, if I'm correct, and, we had a fast car, just got I think we broke an axle coming off pit road, and that ended our day. And last week at Texas, fast car, we just got caught up in a bad wreck and wrong place at the wrong time. So.
All right, and Tuesday night in Victory Lane, you gave the media a good laugh. Talking about making it into the chase is what you said in your post-race interview. What was that all about?
Pretty interesting comment I read after the race. I heard Mr. colleague over here, Scott Ickes, say he was on, don't want to say don't drugs, but he was high. I was not high, but I was pretty loopy up there, and with that champagne they gave us. But no, I don't know. I was just so excited. It was so great to get that, that first win of the season, and these guys really deserve it. And no, people, don't get excited. There's no chase, but I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
Yeah, we all know how a win can get you sidetracked from something. But all right,
Yeah.
buddy, do you mind sticking around with us and chatting about the race?
It's going to be a blast talking about this race.
All right. So as we mentioned before, the GT Vodka 200 was, well, Jeff, how was it?
No, you don't want to talk about it. From my standpoint, it was really good, but as we talked about at the top of the show, controversy. I mean, it seemed like beginning of the heat races, the controversy was there. You guys had timing and scoring issues in your heat race, and you couldn't get it started. You guys took the green flag, I don't know how many times, before you actually, the timing and scoring systems began to work, and all the loops around the track began working in sync the way they should be. In our race, for the second week in a row, the guys that were in it did not have any pressure. The sixth person dropped out before it was even a matter, and Sean Sadler was running in fourth position, about to pass for third, and Eric Mickey even talked about in his post-race interview that maybe he was a little bit too aggressive in that deal, got under Sean in a bad area. He walked up the track, and it ended both of their days. but thank God that that was just a dual race, and then we moved on into the big race. Both drivers advanced, and there was no harm, no foul. But some people's feelings were hurt after the matter.
Yeah, in our heat race, we took the green 3 times, and the third time they said we're just gonna do this one more time, and whatever happens happens. We're just gonna have to try to watch you guys and hope that it works. And it finally did start working, but it was tough. We had a pretty calm race. I don't remember too many people wrecking anybody out. We had Kevin Sibilia. He hasn't been here in a while, and a lot of people were surprised by him. They thought that he had lost it as far as racing goes, but he was up there. He definitely was. I think he was even right behind me for most of the race, and it was just pretty. It was a good heat race. It wasn't a lot of bumping and banging trying to get into the race, but that's the way I like it. If I can be in third or fourth, and with I think it was Stevie being in your heat race, we didn't have to worry about somebody being locked in, so top 5 got in.
Yeah, and they talked about that in the drivers' meeting before ours, that being in this heat race is one of the hardest heat races to be in. I mean, you've got 2 championship provisionals, you've got um, the locked-in driver from last week who won the race, and everybody was desperate. They knew that if they wanted to race this deal, they had to get a top 3 to be safe. And the 6th place driver dropped out. We only had 5 of us. All of us ended up advancing. And you did mention Kevin Sibilia. He did come back out of, you could call it retirement, racing for your team. Matter of fact, he was your teammate. And we knew Scott was, or I'm sorry, we knew that Kevin was in the race the second they dropped the green flag. He missed a shift and stacked up everybody behind him.
Yeah, that does happen. For him, it seems like that's kind of a common occurrence, but for those guys back there, it really sucked. And I don't know. Hey, Jesus, you were in my heat race. What did you think of it?
Uh, it was pretty close racing. That was pretty scary there, where when we couldn't get that start going. My crew chief came over and told me, I don't think we're gonna get this race going, buddy. And I went, well, I know they're gonna come up with something, but I'm pretty scared. You know, I having Kevin around me, not trying to call him out or anything, but people who haven't raced, just who haven't touched a car in a while, they scare me sometimes. You don't know how far they're gonna drive it in, and if they've lost their driving skills and whatever. But all in around, it was pretty cool racing. Yeah, I feel bad because half the pack, I think 2 or 3 good cars were, when we started the race, they started a good 2 to 3 seconds behind, and NASCAR said we can't do anything anymore. So, sucks for them, but it was a pretty good race.
And to defend the officials on that call, there weren't, I believe that one driver got severe damage out of it. No cautions were thrown. So to defend the series officials there wasn't really nothing they could do because it wasn't problematic where the issues were. It was avoidable and it wasn't a lag issue. So I believe that's why they made their call.
Yeah.
That's about it about our heat race. Anything else you want to add about your heat race, Jeff?
Just we got 4 cautions quick right off the bat, and then we had a green flag run to the end, and it was calm. Everybody knew what their role was, and aside from Eric and Sean's issue, ours went relatively good.
Okay, yeah, that was the same with ours. We did actually have a couple cautions, and with Michigan, you didn't want to go into the pits. You don't want to lose that track position. But other than that, that's all I got to add about our race, our heat race.
All right. Now let's begin. The GT Vodka 200. It was a great start. We had 2 cautions all race long, and I can't recall what brought the first one. Either of you two remember what brought that out?
I think what was the first caution for? I think it might have been for Kevin stacking up the field. Somebody might have wrecked.
Yes, that's where it was. Someone come off a turn two after that with all the damage, and they threw debris caution and got that all cleaned up, and most of the cars were able to get whatever damage they had. Um, we get to where everybody's out there. They want their 5 bonus points. They want to get up there. They want to see how good their car is. This is from lap 1 to about 25. That's about how long you can get on a fuel run here in Michigan. And everybody wanted to see what they were capable of, and they wanted to go up there and get the 5 bonus points out the way. So everybody was anxious and all rambunctious to get up to the front. And I was fortunate enough to start out front, and I got my lap sled early out of the way before my car began to fall off. It wasn't handling where it probably should have been. And Eric went by me for the lead, and Jason was tucked up behind him, I believe. Jesus was there, Scott was there, Stevie was there. And I decided, sitting back in 6th place, I was just going to take it easy and ride around. Corey was behind me. He knew what my goal was just to ride around until our first pit stop. And before we could make it there, we, from my perspective, and I want everybody to give their own perspective. Um, from my perspective, we're going down the front stretch. We get into turn 1, and middle of turn 2, I start seeing sparks flying, smoke. We get right up to the exit of turn 2, and I see Scott's truck fly up into the outside wall. He cuts back down the track, takes out Eric, and I slammed the brakes on and barely avoided it. My teammate Jason, he slammed his brakes on. His car did a little loop-de-loop. The only 2 cars that were involved in the deal was, unfortunately, it was Scott, and Eric got a piece of it. Scott, come on, man. You were the guy that was involved, and you guys were called to the hauler after this, and this is the number one reason of the controversy. I know that you were really upset. I talked to you last night after the race, walked up to you before you left the track, and you were pretty upset. And obviously, you've had time to think about it. Talk about it from what you're feeling right now.
Heat of the moment in the race, you're pretty upset, and after the race, they've seen some driving that I did throughout the race, kind of getting theirs way more than other drivers, and they just called both of us there, and I guess at the time, we just had a long talk about what was going on with me and Eric, and me and him always race each other really clean, but after looking at the replay, he just really got me air loose more than I guess I expected. And, that it ended our day in a way. We were still able to finish it. I guess that's only one good thing you can take out of it. Zero Motorsports makes great trucks as far as being able to make it to the end of the race, even when we do get wrecked. But, that's just what I saw from there. And right now, I'm just kind of in a slump. You still got to go out there and try to run the races because you never know what can happen. But I feel bad for everybody in the back. I think my teammate was back there. I had Corey Bunch, who runs my truck. He was back there. So it wasn't a good deal for anybody. But I'm just hoping next week we can do a little better. And I hope to see Eric and Andrew there. They're just Eric's just a really good driver and a good friend to race with. So I know me and him have been pretty mad at each other for the past couple hours after the race, but I hope didn't burn any bridges there.
Yeah, and you, I hate to put your business out there, but talking to me and you last night, you were just, with all the bad luck, 3 races in a row now that you've had something bad happen to you and you haven't had the runs that you wanted to have. You made a comment to me last night that made it seem like you just wanted to just pretty much give up. And I don't know if you realize you're 29 points back in the points even after the incidents that you've had. And you're doing a fine job, and I'm excited to see what you can do in Atlanta. And mainly driver to driver, friend to friend, you need to put all this stuff behind you and go out and do the best that you can in Atlanta, not only for your team, your sponsors, but most importantly for your fans.
Well, thanks, Jeff. I got to get back out there. I know that's what I told you, and I don't think I'll be missing any races. But I wasn't there. Well, I was there, but I wasn't in the racing action. So let's have Jesus. I know you were up there battling for the lead and stuff like that. Can you tell us what happened um, during the race there after that caution?
Yeah. I was passing you, and me and Stevie. No, not Stevie. Someone was on the. I can't remember what I was battling for on the outside, and I passed him, and my spotter goes and tells me there's a wreck on coming off turn two, and I look at my mirror and I see Eric hit Goodyear a little bit, and they're all wild on the front stretch and coming off turn two, and I see people dagging in and out, and to me it was a racing incident. I mean, from what I saw, what other people see, I couldn't see it correctly, but from my point of view, it looked like a pretty good racing incident. I mean, we all make mistakes, I'm not taking anyone's side, but it looked like a racing incident to me.
Yeah, definitely was hard racing, and like I was mentioning before, everybody was in a mad dash to get there and get their 5 points out of the way, and unfortunately, two of the best in the business got taken out, and all it did was cause a mess, and we hope that that can be resolved going into Atlanta. Um, that was the most important. If you're a fan that watches racing solely on the incidents, that was probably the high point there for you. After that, the race went green flag. We had green flag, 2 rounds of green flag pit stops, and that's what set the race up. The first run that we had, it seemed that Stevie had this thing well under control. He was leading the race. He led 12 laps before his green flag pit stop. He came in, and his crew chief thought that it'd be best to take 2 tires. And after the 2 tire stop, he came back out. And he was in the lead for by about 3 seconds. And Jesus, I come out behind you, and me and you got up there and caught and passed him in no time. And um, driver to driver, like I said, we're all drivers here. Scott, you started off. What's your take on the 2 tire deal?
Uh, for me and anybody who knows me, I love taking 2 tires. Um, but you got to make sure that you have the truck underneath you and you have good tire wear, because if you're taking 2 tires when you have a bad handling truck and bad tire wear, unless you're banking on some cautions, you're going to have a really long day.
And Jesus?
Uh, I'm not a big player in that two-tire game. I want my 4 fresh Goodyears because I struggle with 2 tires. I really don't feel like I'm comfortable with 2 tires. But you only see me taking 2 tires unless it's a desperate situation for the end of the race. If I need a strategy, excuse me, um, to gain some positions for points, and I will have to sacrifice myself and take those 2 tires. But no, I'm not calling Stevie's crew chief out. But what were you thinking, bro? We're early in the race.
Yeah, that's what we talked about after the race. Um, we, I called that out. I didn't think that to have the driver as good as he was, to have the truck as good as it was, I feel like that's where they lost their race at. I wouldn't have handicapped the truck and driver like that. With the lead they had to begin with going into pit road, he could have come back out, and if they had a slow stop or whatnot. See, I don't know all the points that went behind making that decision. Maybe the car in practice was best on 2 tires. So I can't really call anybody out. It was a decision that his crew chief made. It was a decision that they stuck with. It was a done deal, and um, he did not benefit from that at all. And um, it was a tough deal for them, but they're still just 10 points. They lost the points lead, 10 points back, and they can go into Atlanta as hot as Stevie's been on the circuit. He's as fast as he's been, as good as he's been consistently. It's not the question of if he's going to get back in the lead, it's when he's going to get back in the lead with the run that those guys have had.
Right. And for your guys' perspective, I don't know. For me, it was like the heat race. And then that little 10-minute layoff till the main race, and we got our final practice, and the track really changed. I don't know about you guys, but it just seemed like it really changed for us.
Yeah, I noticed that after especially after the second, after things strayed out a little bit. There was 2 packs on the track. Me and Jesus were about 4 or 5 seconds in front of Corey and Eric, and Stevie was following closely behind that group. We went down pit road on that last green flag stop, made some air pressure adjustments, and when we came out of pit road, I don't know what you guys did on that stop, but you guys got out way ahead of me, but that wasn't important. Being there by myself with no draft, no air time, driving around with the setup that I had, the final adjustment was the best I think the truck had felt all night long, and for me, the track changed for the better.
And at the end of this race, I think it went green flag the entire way, and we had you two up front, and it was a pretty close battle. I wasn't up there, so I don't know, but would you like to tell us about that, Jeff, and if there was a close
Yeah,
battle or not?
I'd be glad to. There was no close battle, unfortunately. Um, I It was cat and mouse game. He come out about 2.5 seconds ahead of me, and as good as the truck was feeling, I was able to flat-foot it around the track. And when I told some of the drivers after the race that, oh man, that last run, I was able to flat-foot it all around the track, and they looked at me and said, wait, you didn't flat-foot it to begin with? So apparently some other drivers drove the track differently than I did. I let off going to the corners, and I was able to flat-foot it, and um, I got the deficit down to 1.8, and that's where it stood until the end of the race. And Jesus picked up the 26th win for Junior Motorsports in the Truck Series, and he also clicked off his 8th career win, and right now he's 3rd on the all-time wins list.
And Jeff, you got your third consecutive second-place finish, and also took over the points lead. Corey Bunch finished 3rd, Eric Meeke finished 4th, and Steve Andrews finished 5th. The rest of the top 10 can be seen on the graphic on your screen.
And when we get back, Scott will be in the news center to talk about what's going on in the garage area. This is Jeff Baki Jr., driver of the number 88 Amp Energy National Guard Chevrolet Impala. Stay tuned. There's more coming on the Online Racing Network.
And we're back with the race report. In the news this week, our partners, the GTRL, who are known for road racing, recently announced that they may consider doing a stock car series. Joining us once again is Jesus Andrade. Jesus, what is your take on this, and how do you think it will affect the OCRL?
I don't think it'll affect the OCRL. I think the OCRL is a pretty strong company, and I feel bad for the GTRL, lack of drivers and everything. But I think OCRL. I don't think it'll affect the OCRL. OCRL is a really strong company, and I don't see it affecting it at all.
Right. Jeff, what do you think about it, Jeff?
I'm in the same boat as Jesus is. I think that we're a really, really strong league. We have a very solid foundation with the drivers that we have here, and I think all of them are very loyal to what we've got going on here, and we've got a strong developmental program that is steady bringing in new drivers, and I think we're here to stay as far as that goes. They have had some issues in the past recently with attendance, and I hope they get their bugs worked out, and they're mainly known for road racing. That's where I believe they should stay to keep that diverse group where it is. GTRL is road racing, and what I would like to see, honestly, is if they do run stock cars, to see stock cars on road courses. That'd be awesome.
Right. Yeah. I hope the GTRL does get everything fixed over there because the road racing is awesome. I've done it a couple times. Haven't done as good as I would like to, but they got a lot of drivers over there who are very talented road racers. And with the stock car series, if they're gonna try it, good luck to them. And I just hope whatever they do over there works out for them because we want drivers to be happy at both places, the OCRL and the GTRL.
Yeah, and I've done some races over there as well, and um, depending on what they come up with after this new configuration, I don't wouldn't be surprised to see me back in a making maybe making a few appearances. I'm not making any promises though. um, Making the headlines going into Atlanta are the Mickey brothers. Eric Mickey was contested to be driving aggressively and was given penalties following the race by the officials. After further review, the officials withdrew the penalties, but now Eric is demanding answers not only from the officials but his fellow racers.
Yeah, after that race, there was a couple drivers who were talking about his driving, and I think we're going to get a couple of drivers into a room and just talk about that, and hopefully everything gets settled out, and we can have some good fun racing and no big paybacks or nothing.
Yeah, agreed. I think everybody needs to leave what happened at the track, and move on to the next week because when you go and pay somebody back, you put other people in danger that are innocent victims, and I agree that I'll be the first to tell you when we go into that meeting with Eric and the OCRL officials that Eric is an aggressive driver, and he's acquired that, and I think that there's some times where his aggressive driving works in his favor, and there's others where he probably shouldn't be doing it, but whatever happens, I'm sure that everything will work out all right. In other news, Patrick O'Toole announced that his team will be scaling down to a one-car team. Patrick will take over the number 18 truck effective immediately.
Going into next week, the points lead looks a little different up front. Jeff, you guys took the points lead. Stevie is just 10 points behind you guys.
Yeah, it's great to be up front for the time being. And Scott, you're just 29 points back, and Jesus is 68 points back.
Jason fell outside of the top 5 after another DNF, and Eric Mickey remains in 5th.
And you can look for your favorite driver in the top 10 as the graphic is being displayed on your screen. Now let's talk about Atlanta. Scott, what do you like the most about that track?
Well, Atlanta is probably one of the best tracks out there that the OCRL goes to. It's like Michigan, but it's just a little better. You can drive just like at Michigan, and some people consider it like a little Daytona, but I think the tire wear is a little more aggressive, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen on long runs since we have a bunch of long runs at Michigan. That's what you expect from the OCRL. Now, the past couple weeks when we had a lot of cautions, you expect to have long green flag runs and have that strategy to be able to move your way up to the field.
Yeah, and it's one of the fastest tracks that we go to as far as D-shaped ovals are concerned. Very high speed. The corners are tight. It's some of the best racing. You got the sucker hold on the backstretch. It seems like you're driving down the backstretch, and the backstretch wall just wants to pull out and grab you into it. Everybody always walks out of there with a white stripe down the right side of their car where they bounced off the wall a few times. The high line is fast. The low line is fast. Everything about that track is fast. Jesus, you want to talk about what you like about that track?
Oh, what I like about that track. Man, one thing's got to be how fast it is, man. I just love going in those turns, just like Michigan, going 200 and something miles an hour into it. Not as fast as Michigan, but 202 to 203 into those bank corners and those bumps coming out of turn 2, man. It's pretty fun. Um, One thing I'm looking forward to is how your crew chief controls the fuel mileage. I really think that race is going to be in fuel mileage, and whoever makes the best strategy is really gonna win that race.
Well, we're just about out of time, Jeff.
Yes, we are. This weekend's practice sessions will be held at 10 p.m. This weekend. On Saturday will be the first session. The second practice session will be on Sunday. Don't miss the heat races at 8 p.m. next Tuesday, live from Atlanta.
Yeah, you don't want to miss them. They're going to be exciting, and I predict we'll see some of the best racing we've seen all season.
I sure hope so. I'd like to thank Jesus Andrade for being on the show tonight. And on behalf of everyone here at the OCRL Studios, I'm Jeff Baki Jr.
And I'm Scott Ickes.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week from Atlanta Motor Speedway.